All right, to delay or not delay. This is not going to be a seminar on procrastinating or whether or not you need a delay pedal or stereo delay pedals on your guitar rig or your vocal recording system or something. But it's to answer the question, when's it optimal to use delays in speaker designs, particularly in paging environments. And I think you're going to see that the CCA helps you cut this down significantly. I already mentioned that even if you only had two speakers, a first one and a delayed one, just replacing that with a CCA 80 gets rid of half your work and only one location to install a speaker at. So that goes into a labor cost, the time that you're renting lifts and equipment and all this sort of thing, the cabling that you're installing and conduit and so forth. Number of amplifier channels that are involved, DSP channels are involved. So anytime we can reduce the equipment and the locations for speakers, everything upstream gets easier and the people putting it in spend less time and effort doing it. Now, when we do decide we need to use delay, then it's important that those two signals from those two speakers are synchronized, and they're not synchronized and they're off enough, somewhere around 35 to 100 milliseconds. It can be very confusing to listen to, along with whatever other reflected sound is happening in the environment. So it's important that they're delayed and referencing a single starting point. But we do have to keep in mind, every time we add a delayed unit, we're adding an amp channel with some signal processing, cable, time and energy, and so forth. Okay, so we can reduce the number of delays. That's a bonus. When we need them, we need them. So here's a very basic warehouse type environment. This could be a grocery store. This could be a big box retail. The bottom portion of this has a little traffic area where some loading docks are located, and the rest of it is aisles left and right, for storage. So what happens if we put in a system here? One way to do this is to put in speakers at one end of the aisle, aim them all down the aisle, and synchronize the delays. So the delay is a calculation, and we're taking distance and converting it to milliseconds to determine how much delay to put on the second row of speakers, and then the third and fourth and so forth, right? And this works all the way down here, and they're basically just adding up on top of each other across the length of this space. But this also means, at minimum, I need to have an amp channel for each one of these delay positions. I might have several of those speakers using that channel and that delay, but each one of them has to have their own. So in this case, we would need at least 6 channels to accomplish this, right? And if there were higher power speakers, we might need more than that. Okay, so what can we do to simplify this? So inside of Warehouse Designer, you'll see we have a way now to take a space like that and look at it by dividing it in half and placing the speakers back to back. The automatic setup may already choose that or may not, and you have the opportunity to override that and tell, let's try starting in the center and working out to the ends of the space, because then we cut the number of speakers down by roughly half, right? So you make that selection, and it switches to this start at the center and work to the ends method. And so now we have pairs of, in this case, CCA 80s at the center. It actually could be other speaker models. You're not restricted to only using this with that speaker. And then as sound propagates from the center, then you have the delays, 0, and the next zone, and so forth. And so ultimately, we wind up with only 3 channels of power and processing needed, and then whatever amount of power is needed for each of those 3. Right? So we've cut our complexity down significantly, at least in the rack. It's about the same amount of wire, but we simplified the rack side. Okay, so what are our advantages of doing it from the middle? We reduce the number of channels from 6 to 3. We reduce the amount of mounting points, actually from 6 to 5 locations along each of the aisles, right? So it's actually a little less wire and a little less work to put in. Okay, so the modeling process, what I'm going to do is cover pretty quickly. This is not a deep dive into how to run EaseAddress and EaseFocus and AFMG software. Either one of those programs is 1 to 2 hours to get you fully functional in that. And that's something I do all the time, but it does take more time than that. But I'm going to make sure that if you're already familiar with that software or you're going to bravely take an attempt at it, you at least know how to get our data files into it so you can begin experimenting with it and trying some things on projects. So we'll do that. The AutoCAD blocks, I don't think there's much to say. If you know how to work in your modeling program or your CAD program and you've got a block now that you can scale, go for it. You probably already know what to do with that. So not much to show there. Warehouse Designer, we're going to go through ways you can use it for all kinds of different places, warehouses, garages, factories. I've had some military sites where I wish I had this, a couple years ago. It would have made life a lot easier on some larger jobs where we had a lot of distributed audio. You could put it in a barn, maybe one of these large type of agricultural centers where they do conventions and events and so forth. Distribution centers and retail stores. Absolutely, there's a place for that. I'm going to show you the biggest trick is to get your UCS figured out. If you don't know what that is, we'll come to that in a minute. To get your PDF or whatever CAD plans you have organized so that it's easy to put the information into Warehouse Designer. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover here on the modeling process. All right, downloads. GLL files are a special loudspeaker data file. And we collect the data on the speaker by measuring its response all the way around it. It's a very complicated process with a robot here in our acoustics lab that does all that measurement work. And then we have some folks in the acoustics department who decode all that information and make it into this file that is basically a digital twin of the real loudspeaker. So the GLL file is what we use to drive the data in Warehouse Designer. You don't have to download anything to make that work, but that's built in. And then if you're going to use EaseAddress or EaseFocus or EaseEvac or Ease4 or Ease5, any of those, then the GLLs are available. On the download site, it's pretty simple. Just pick any product category that says loudspeakers. It could be community or commercial, DeSono, doesn't matter. And then pick GLL, CLF data. And the first result should be this one that says Biamp GLL all products. And that's one zip file with all of them in one place. So you don't have to go chasing them down on the downloads portal. Right below that is the compatibility matrix. So it gives you a list of which models are available for which programs. So that's a simple download to get. And then in each program, we'll go over how to get that into the program. So I'm going to briefly here switch over to EaseAddress so you see it. This is what the program looks like when it's running. I have some R.15s in it. And under the File menu, you go to Options, and you get this little interface here. And in the Environment section, which is where you would change metric to imperial or the language you prefer. But anyway, what you really need is this file path. And so what you're going to do with that file path is copy that text, put it in your Windows Explorer, go find that folder and unzip your GLLs and put them in the folder. So there's the step-by-step. Go to F9, get that text string. So you know where that folder is. Go to that folder, put all the GLLs in it. Don't worry about which ones are licensed or not licensed. It'll figure it out for you. You don't have to go through the matrix and check each one and decide which ones to put in there. Just throw them all in there. And then close EaseAddress and relaunch it. And it'll look at that library and figure out which ones it can use, and it'll make them available. The ones that aren't available, that aren't licensed for the program, just simply won't work. It won't be available. And then you're up and running. You've got what you need to start doing layouts in Ease Address. If you're an Ease Focus user, little bit different process. You install the program, unzip your GLL files, put them anywhere, put them somewhere convenient where you like to keep things. And then in the file menu, you're going to import it. So I'll bring up real quickly here, Focus, what this kind of looks like. So here's the program running. I've got a couple R.15s in here, and we're going to hit File, Import System Definition File. I'm going to get this thing here just to browse through Windows and go find the location where I have unzipped my files, and wherever that is, doesn't matter where that is. And then you click Open, or I should say, select all the files, then click Open, and it'll pull in all of the ones that are licensed. It'll give you a little error that says, hey, we found some that are not licensed, and that's okay. We license the ones that work best in that program and are needed in that program. And you're all done. It's now available to you. Actually, with Focus, you do not have to restart the program to get it to look at the library. It's instantly available, which is a nice bonus. If you're an Ease 4 or Ease 5 user, all the GLLs are available to use in those programs, no restrictions at all. And Ease Evac, which is sort of like the pro version of Address, basically everything in the catalog except line arrays will work in that program. And in Ease Evac, you can do a little more than just a ceiling speaker type layout. You can actually move speakers around kind of like in Focus. Okay, not going to spend a lot of time on that one, but that's available. We're supporting it. Okay, so moving along here, because I totally failed yesterday to include any legitimate dad jokes. Make sure you understand all this stuff's available, whether you're metric or imperial. I'm going to switch units on you, so try not to get too lost. We're going to leave some people behind. Try not to leave people behind. We move from feet to meters. If you're not used to making that conversion, which I do all day, this is how you do it. We're gonna move between them a little bit today. So, but we're fully compatible either way, right? Not a problem. And later we'll come back to this, some resources that you can use later. So let me get each of these apps open and go over a couple basics. Ease Address is basically like a ceiling speaker calculator. The workflow is that you set up your project, you follow these tabs on the bottom, that's your workflow. You put in some basic information about the job, and then you indicate the dimensions of the room, or you can grab these little movable grips and rearrange the drawing. You can build fairly complex floor plans with this actually, and it'll adjust the speakers as you go to fit that, because I have it set to auto arranging. The next tab is auto arranging, and I've selected the new model, the R153696. There's a whole bunch of others in there that are available that we could switch to, and indicate here what level of power I think I need, and it of course works in 100 volt or 70 volt denominations, and so pick whatever level you think you want to run at, and it'll tell you what your sound pressure is after it runs a computation here. Some little adjustments you can make to indicate whether the coverage area, that little circle around the blue dot, each of these circles is the defined coverage area. That's where all the frequencies are fairly even within about 6 dB. You can see that right now. They are laid out edge to edge, which means circle next to circle. And actually our level variation is 3 dB. So we're getting some overlap even acoustically at this layout. So I could make various changes to this, such as I could load in a particular distance if I knew that my structure only let me to mount them at certain positions and 6.2 wasn't going to work. maybe it was every 8 meters I had to put in a device. I can put that in, and then I can change whether or not the pattern begins a little bit left or a little bit up and down on the X and Y axes here. So we can adjust those. And address will let you grab any individual device and stick it right where you want it. And now it's no longer auto arranging, but it does let you do that. So this is a great way to work for certain scenarios where you're going to do this overhead grid, and that's the way you want to do it, and go for it. And all the other paging type horns are here, the H10, 20, 30, MPL D62. Use the one with the G in it, that's the newer file. And some other things from the pendants and such from the DeSono line, and some mask speakers, Kubos. So there's a lot of choices. Once you have a layout that you like, you can evaluate the distribution down here in terms of what percentage of the space is getting a certain amount of level, and it tells you how much your average is, and so forth. You can change what's the frequency range you want to map. And then if you like, you can put in little cursors, so you can have measurement positions and get frequency responses. So you can do a fairly sophisticated thing here to show that your design's legitimate, and then it's able to produce a report. You go to File, Create Print Version, and it's going to take whatever's here and make an RTF document out of it. A second to launch Word. Wherever Word went. No, sorry, it's make it a PDF. I'm thinking of a different program. There we go. There it is. So there's my report. And all the details from that model show up in here. The mapping, number of speakers, and so forth, where they're located. So that's ease address. You don't so much place and manipulate the device individually. You do the auto arranging as much as you can until it doesn't solve all your problems, and then you manually adjust it to your satisfaction. So that's ease address, real quick introduction. And then ease focus, similar process here. After you've imported them, this is similar to handling the speakers individually. So you place them by doing this little button here, the sound source, and you get a dialog, and you go search for the speaker you want to use. And hit OK, and you place this anywhere you want in the modeling environment. You can see it in the side view. You can aim it horizontally, you can aim it vertically, and then under the object properties, everything you're doing is recorded here, and you can adjust those manually. So it's a very precise way to work, but you've got to lay every speaker in individually, and when it's time to figure out the delay, you're going to have to select a speaker that you think needs a delay, set up some flags to measure the time response, and use the time response window. So I can select this second speaker, this little flag here, number 4, and it tells me how much delay there is from the first speaker. I've got about 56, 57 milliseconds, so I can go over here and put in 57 milliseconds, get them closer for their arrival, but I have to manually do all this and make decisions. We can spend a lot of time on focus, but I think that's the main thing, is how to get the speaker in and understand some of the basic tools here. All right, I'll move on to Warehouse Designer.